It doesn't even feel like a Wrangler. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be going over a Jeep Wrangler Sport, and more importantly a Jeep Wrangler Sport that has the Eco-Diesel engine. So first and foremost, a huge shout out and thank you to the Dodge Ram here in Provo for providing us with the Eco-Diesel Wrangler. Check out their inventory in the link below. Let's get right into the video. Now, under the hood of the Eco-Diesel Wrangler, we have a turbocharged 3-liter V6 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 22 around town and then 29 on the highway, with power outputs being 260 horsepower and then 442 pound-feet of torque, and a 0 to 60 time of about 6.7 seconds. Go over the front end, and you guys will notice that things are pretty basic, but that is absolutely perfect. I'm gonna take a pretty interesting spin in this video. I think this Wrangler is the ultimate Wrangler to modify like this specific one, and you guys will see as I do a walk around, and it'll make sense once we go over everything. So you guys can see the hood, there's nothing. You do have the little pins there at the top, that's to rest the windshield if you do drop down the windshield. You do get halogen lights right here, and then you've got the turn signals there to the side, fog lights down below, plastic bumpers, do have the tow hooks poking out of it, but you guys can notice everything's super basic, so really inexpensive. You know, change out the fender flares, change out the bumper, maybe a new hood. Pretty cool, right? So around the side here, we've got 245mm tires on 17-inch wheels in the front and in the rear as well. Again, super basic so that you can throw some crazy tires and wheels on this. Obviously, after you lift this Jeep, you know what I mean. But yeah, you guys can see the stock suspension here with the Sport. Obviously, you got the fender there, Jeep logo there on the side. Obviously, it is trail rated. And here is the full side view on this particular one. Yes, it does have the hard top. Now, coming to the back, you guys can see the key fob has the Jeep logo and the flip out key, and that is it. Remember, this is like a very base model Sport, so there's not a whole lot happening with the whole key section. Now, walking up to the back, we're gonna open up right here, and you guys can see it opens up the normal Jeep fashion here with the rear, and then you got the window as well. You guys can see storage space back here is pretty decent, and under here, this is where you're gonna store all the screws and everything if you do take off the full top. You actually do get a 12-volt back here to charge a device, and then notice that this is body colored, so when you do take off the top, still looks nice and cool with the white on the exterior. And well, that's all for the back. You gotta put the window down first, and then the door second, and then you're good to go. Now, finishing things up in the rear, there's your Eco-Diesel badge. That's one of the only ways you can tell that this is an Eco-Diesel. And then you guys will notice that obviously backup cameras are mandated in the US, so you do get a backup camera right there in the middle of the tire. But that is everything else for the rear end. There's your little gas cap. Now, coming to the side here, you guys look at the door panel. You actually do get padding here for the rear passengers, which is nice. Yes, crank windows. It is 2020, and you can still get a vehicle with crank windows. Oh man, I can just feel the nostalgia there. But here are the seats in the back. You can see you've got the full black cloth seats that come with the Sport. Now, I am going to pop in. It is a little bit difficult to get in, but it's not too bad. It's just a little bit higher compared to a regular SUV, which if you're getting a Wrangler, you want it to be higher. Here's legroom. I'm 5'11", and then if you guys are running on headroom, that is solid as well. And then you guys can see the whole like roll cage here above me. Really cool. You do get vents back here, and that's, well, everything for the back. Now we're gonna open up the door here at the front, and you guys will notice that things are pretty simple. And again, I just have to feel the nostalgia. It's so satisfying. I know that like power windows are so much nicer, but like, just satisfying. Anyways, here are the seats at the front. You guys can see they're nicely bolstered, again, the black cloth. And then you've got your adjustments on the side of the seats. Those are also manually adjustable. Here's what the pedals look like on this basic Sport. And then you got your light controls right here, the adjustment for the steering wheel, and that's all before we pop in. Now that we're in, it actually is a push button start. Even though it's pretty basic with everything else, you still get a push button start, and it says Wrangler Sport right there, so you know what you're driving. Here's the steering wheel in the Eco-Diesel Wrangler. You got the cruise control on this side, and the other side you got the controls for the center stack, your phone control and voice command control as well. There are rocker panels on the back of the steering wheel to control the radio controls as well. And then you got your little windshield wiper stock, and then you got the stock for the turn signal, and that's everything for the steering wheel. Now here on the gauges, you've got the RPMs on the left side, and the right side you've got the speed, and then here in the center, you guys can see the fuel economy currently. Obviously this doesn't have many miles on it, so it's not accurate, but for the screen itself, there's a bunch of different menus you can scroll through. Pretty straightforward, pretty easy to use, and it's everything for the center. Now here's the center infotainment system. You've got the analog controls on the outside of the infotainment system, and then you have the screen itself. Pretty easy to use. Yes, it is a little touch screen, and other than that, you do have a backup camera, like I said. So if you pop it in reverse, you can see the backup camera will pop up with the trajectory lines. Resolution on it's really good. The screen's just pretty small, and well, other than that, that's everything for the infotainment system. Yes, this still does have air conditioning. Believe it or not, you can get a Jeep in 2020 without air conditioning, but this one has it, thank goodness. Hill descent control as well. You've got your auto stop start, and by the way, it's just a single zone climate. You've got a little charging port right here, and then under the little media, you've got a couple other USBs and an auxiliary. These are little auxiliary switches, so if you add auxiliary items to the Jeep, it's pretty easy to integrate those. Here's your drive line select, and yeah, it looks pretty cool. Here is the shifter for the 8-speed automatic transmission. You actually can shift the gears yourself if you want in that manual mode. You do get a little e-brake right here, and then over here you guys notice the cup holder. That's to hold your key right there in the center. And then here at the center console, it's actually got leather on the top of it. You got your storage space right there, and then within it you've got another little USB port. And then coming over here, you got a grab handle. I actually like the kind of like dark gray here, and then you do have a little signature circular Jeep vents. And then finally opening up the glove box, got a decent amount of storage space in that bad boy. Up top, even though this is a sport, you still get the same functionality here as all the other Jeeps. So you basically just pull all of these to pull off the top here. So you don't need any tools for the front part, and you can pull those two parts at the top. Now the back, you do need to use tools. Power tools do make it easier, but you can use regular tools for it to remove the back part. And I would recommend 2 people to do it, but you could manage with 1 person. It's just really heavy, really difficult, not worth it, and that's the top. Now that we're done going over the interior on this Wrangler, let's quickly get into pricing. So this Wrangler Eco-Diesel Sport, pretty much basic, everything, not much added. This one does have the tow package added to it, I believe, which is a pretty nice little package to have. Anyways, stickers for $41,800 before any type of market adjustment, which, I mean, compared to like a Rubicon Eco-Diesel, you're looking at like 60, high 50s, low 60s for that. So $20,000. Think about the build you could do with $20,000. Just, I'm gonna leave that there. Let's take this Wrangler Eco-Diesel out and see how it drives. Let's quickly talk about visibility here in the Eco-Diesel Wrangler before we set off. So visibility over the hood, it's really easy to see out of, and you definitely sit higher up off the ground. There's visibility through the side, your other side as well. And then here's visibility all throughout the rear, so really solid in the Wrangler. And that all being said, let's set off. We are pretty much setting off here in the Wrangler Eco-Diesel, and man, this is only the 2nd time I've ever driven a Wrangler Eco-Diesel, but I absolutely love the idea of a diesel Wrangler, because just all of the torque that you get, like, that's just going to be so good on the off-road. Like, just fundamentally changes the Jeep. But initially setting off here, so like from the suspension standpoint and all that, it drives just like any other Jeep. So you got quite a bit of body roll, but in terms of like how the turn in and everything, Jeeps drive really small, which is definitely a really nice characteristic of them. And so it's like you put in very minimal input and then it just kind of goes. You never have to worry about like rolling over something on the back end. Like, it's just such a short vehicle. But yeah, so first off, pretty solid. Now the steering is very, very light with the Jeeps, and in terms of the vagueness, there is quite a bit. Now you guys probably can hear the diesel engine in the background, and yeah, you probably felt that in the camera shaking all over the place with me going over that bump and that one. But I mean, it's still pretty solid, I would say, for sure, from a suspension standpoint. Yeah, it's a little bit rougher, but I mean, you kind of expect it with the Wrangler. The brakes definitely work really good. I mean, you guys can see here the stopping power is just really solid with the Wrangler. Now we're going to kind of see the handling around this little part right here. Yeah, like I said, it handles really good. Yeah, that torque, that is so addicting. That's the one thing, is Jeep Wranglers, they're so cool, but they just don't have enough power, and this Eco-Diesel completely changes that. It does get better fuel economy compared to a regular Wrangler, which is already a win, but the biggest difference is just the power feel. Like, this just feels so much peppier compared to a regular Wrangler. Just completely changes the driving experience. You guys will really see that once we get our acceleration up here. Oh, we are finally able to get our acceleration. There's so much traffic down here, but we're finally getting it. it doesn't even feel like a Wrangler. Like, it has so much torque and the acceleration is so solid that it just doesn't feel like a Wrangler. Like, it completely transforms it. You guys heard the 0 to 60 time about 6.7 seconds. It definitely feels like that. Whereas like a regular Jeep, so much slower. Like, this is just night and day difference. It is literally night and day difference. And you guys can see here again, just there's a little bit of lag, but it's so good. Like, that's the biggest takeaway from this review, other than the fact that someone needs to buy this and modify it. But this Eco-Diesel just completely transforms a Wrangler. This is the engine to get for the Wrangler, in my opinion, because the torque is just perfect. The power is just perfect. Everything about it it makes it such a good Jeep. And I just want to go into the build section a little bit on this. So here's what I'm thinking is, whenever you do a build on a vehicle, if you buy a less expensive vehicle, then obviously that leaves a little bit more room financially to put crazier parts in and everything. And that's where I think that this is really solid, is since this is a base model Wrangler, like pretty much no options added, just with the Eco-Diesel, then you could do a crazy build on this and still be a lot less money than a Rubicon. So like, you could do a lift, tires, wheels, upgrade the rear end so that you re-gear it and all that, and you can even wrap this too. All that stuff completely make this like a completely different vehicle, and it wouldn't be that crazy expensive. Just, yeah, that's all I have to say. And there we have it, everyone, the 2020 Jeep Wrangler Sport Eco-Diesel. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Dodge Ram here in Provo for providing us with this Wrangler. Check out the inventory in the link below, and I'm really hoping that when you guys buy this, because I want to see a crazy build on this Jeep. Like, it's the perfect Jeep to do a build on. I'll see you in the next video.